The Steadfast Tin Soldier. Listen to English and learn. Let's start. Once there were 5 soldiers in a wooden box. Each was handsome and wore a smart blue uniform. But one soldier, Will, had only one leg. He had been made last, and the toy maker had run out of tin. But Will stood just as straight on his one leg as the others did on 2, and he was just as brave and handsome. The soldiers were given to a boy on his birthday. He opened the box and stood them up in a straight row on the table. Will looked around and saw that he was in a nursery. There were many other toys in the room, and a colorful box on the floor. On the far side of the table, he saw a castle made of paper. In the doorway of the castle stood a beautiful paper maiden. Will fell in love with her at once. The paper maiden, whose name was Alyssa, was a dancer. One arm raised above her head, and one foot was lifted so high behind her that Will thought she had only one leg, just like him. She wore a short dress made of sky blue gauze with blue ribbon on one sleeve. She would make a perfect wife for me, thought Will. He gazed and gazed at the paper maid, unable to take his eyes off her. Evening came, and the boy put all the toys except Will back in the box. When it grew dark, the toys began to play. The tin soldier stood stiffly at attention and watched Alyssa. She stood still and looked at him out of the corner of her eye. Suddenly, the lid flew off the colorful box and landed on the floor. Out popped an ugly, evil goblin, shrieked at the soldier, "Stop staring at the paper dancer!" But Will kept his eyes on her. "You'll pay for this!" screamed the goblin. The next morning the boy took the soldier and stood him on the window sill. Suddenly a gust of wind blew, probably caused by the goblin. Will fell out the window, and his hat stuck in the dirt between stones in the street below. Soon it began to rain. The rain came down so hard and so fast that water ran in torrents down the street. Will bravely waited for the downpour to the end. When it was over, 2 boys found the toy soldier. They made a paper boat, put Will in it, and floated him down a canal. The canal emptied into a dark tunnel. The waters were so swift that the paper boat whirled and tipped dangerously, but the tin soldier held fast and was very brave. How he wished the beautiful Alyssa could be here with him. Then he would have been happy. A big rat lived in the tunnel, loomed up beside the boat. "Where is your pass?" the rat demanded. "Give me your pass at once." The tin soldier remained still and steady. The rat swam fast after the boat, shrieking and slapping the water, but the boat whirled too fast in the current. Soon the rat was left behind. Will could hear the sound of the rat's voice fading as the boat whirled on. He let out a great sigh of relief. Will wondered what the goblin had in store for him next, and if he would ever see Alyssa again. The current grew stronger and stronger, pulling the boat along faster and faster. Just as Will began to see daylight at the end of the tunnel, he heard a terrible roar and splashing. Will's boat was heading straight for a waterfall. He knew the poor soggy boat would never survive a waterfall, but there was no stopping the current. He pulled himself up and stood more bravely than ever on his one leg. Once the soggy paper boat was caught in the rushing waterfall, it quickly filled with water and sank. "This must certainly be my end," thought the tin soldier as he plunged swiftly down into the whirlpool. "I will never again see the beautiful Elisa, nor will I know how wonderful it would have been to watch her dance for me." Round and round he whirled. His shiny blue uniform caught the eye of a large fish swimming by. The fish stopped, looked Will over from head to toe, and then swallowed him in one gulp. It was much darker in the fish than in the tunnel, but Will held himself as straight as he could. The fish seemed to dash around frantically for a time and then lay quiet. After a long time there was a flash lightning, and Will saw daylight again. The fish had been caught on someone's hook. Now it was in a kitchen, and the cook was preparing it for dinner. "My goodness, look at this old tin soldier inside my fish!" exclaimed the cook. She pulled Will out, then wiped him off and brought him to the nursery. Will looked around and saw the box where his brothers were kept, the goblin's box on the floor, and the paper castle. His tin heart beat faster when he realized that he was home. The boy came into the nursery and looked at the tin soldier. "Where have you been?" the boy asked in an accusing tone. "You're damp and you smell like fish." Suddenly he opened the window and threw Will into the flower garden below. Will lay among the petunias and felt sad, but he stayed straight and brave. The evil goblin must be very glad, he thought. Just then a gentle wind blew over him, whispering softly. It blew through the house, caught up Elisa, and blew her straight out the open window into the garden. With a graceful little flutter, the paper dancer landed next to Will among the petunias. They looked at each other with beating hearts and adoring eyes. Then they slid very close together. "Will you stay with me and be my wife?" Will asked. "Yes, forever and ever," she whispered. And that is just what she did. They were married soon after, beneath the leaves of a low-growing plant, and the flowers danced over them, hiding them from all the world. The wind whispered softly, rustling the trees like music. Days and nights passed. The winds blew, and the rain and snow fell on the tin soldier and his bride. But the sun shone on them and dried them off. Sometimes a cat or a dog or a bird, prowling through the flowers and bushes, would come upon Will and Elisa. None ever made trouble, however, since no one knew what to make of the tin soldier and his paper doll. And so Will and Elisa were happy, for, aside from an occasional visitor, there was no evil goblin, no fat rat, no hungry fish to torment them. Sometimes, when the full moon shone through the branches above, and the air was balmy and warm, the graceful Elisa would dance for her husband, pirouetting in the gentle night breezes and dancing to music made by the wind in the trees. She always remained true to Will, as did the steadfast tin soldier to her. That was the steadfast tin soldier. This is Listen and Learn English. Subscribe and drop me a like. And thank you for watching my video. See you next time.